I don't remember the exact day it started. It was probably a humid day the summer before second grade began, walking my dog alongside my mother around the cul-de-sac my house sits on. My memory fails me usually, but when I think back to the summers of 2009, I can feel my face turn white as I drop to my knees and scream into the asphalt. I can hear the silence that engulfed me that day when I felt the emotional disconnect from the faces that surrounded me for my whole life. I questioned the reliability of my own thoughts, when the notion of I was a duality. Laura was separate from the third-person narrator that was experiencing these feelings. I had transcended myself and become not only an observer of reality, but an observer of myself. Those summer days continue to haunt me. My home and my cul-de-sac, Publix, and University Drive, any place where I first endured this twisted enlightenment, are all a constant reminder of the confusion and desperation that deafened my senses on those summer afternoons. Depersonalization is not only a symptom of panic attacks, but it can also be its own separate disorder, triggered by severe trauma. Depersonalization disorder is on the spectrum of dissociative disorders, which are conditions that involve disruptions or breakdowns in memory, awareness, identity, or perception. Those who have experienced depersonalization say they feel like they are living in a dream or a movie. With depersonalization, it's common to experience intrusive thoughts, usually dealing with the essence of reality and existence during an episode. Depersonalization is a defense mechanism to separate a traumatic reality from the person experiencing it, that in turn results in further terrorizing experiences. I can't tell you why I have these experiences. The 8 psychologists I've been to over the past decade haven't been able to psychoanalyze me well enough to figure that out either, let alone accurately diagnose me with depersonalization disorder. Before I even knew what I was experiencing were panic attacks, my primary care physician thought I was having seizures and promptly referred me to a neurologist. At 8 years old, I was walking around 4th grade homeroom with brain electrodes coming out of my head to monitor my brain functions. When nothing out of the ordinary was found there, I was told to get an MRI. Coincidentally, as I entered the loud, scary cylinder, the familiar feelings of depersonalization and panic crept up on me once again. When the neurologist, pediatricians, MRI scan, and brain electrodes could not determine what terrible thing was causing me to fall to the ground screaming, my family and I took our last stride, and we went to a psychologist. After listening to me explain my symptoms for 5 minutes, she flipped through the DSM-5 and read the symptoms of panic attacks aloud to me. Fear of losing control or going crazy, fear of dying, and feelings of unreality stood out the most to me. After that day, I can't say I truly believed I had panic attacks. While a part of me felt satisfied with this diagnosis, another part of my terror felt invalidated and ignored, even with her mentioning of feelings of unreality. My episodes encapsulated much more than just feeling unreal. I was feeling unreal all of the time, and unreal was only a part of it. The breathing exercises prescribed to me by my therapists never helped relax me. Being alone in my head without any distraction only furthered my symptoms of spacing out. As I got older, I was able to accurately diagnose myself with having depersonalization disorder. However, this was after 6 years of suffering, invalidation, and trauma that could have been prevented if not for the insufficiency of the mental health profession. The first time I found the word depersonalization was around 7th grade, only 4.5 short years ago. YouTubers like Harris Harrington and various depersonalization forums online helped me feel less alone in my suffering. Reading the experience of others and finding out that other people were going through the same exact thing as I was, after thinking I was living in a purgatory between life and death for the previous 5 years, was single-handedly the most comforting feeling I have ever experienced. Till this day, I still have panic attacks. I still feel depersonalized the majority of the time. I'm still forced to operate in a town and home in which I have endured years of childhood trauma that subsequently triggers my depersonalization and panic attacks further. But I'm hopeful. I'm 16, and in 1.5 short years, I will be at a small liberal arts school in the Northeast studying journalism and writing about gender and sexuality. While my experiences with depersonalization have definitely caused me to think about existential topics that kids at 7 years old should not be thinking about. The last thing I would want anyone to take away from this is that depersonalization is some romantic, intellectual experience that is the goal for those achieving spiritual transcendence. Depersonalization is the outcome of repressed trauma and unmanageable anxiety, not the outcome of heightened spiritual awareness. But while this is true, I wouldn't be the same person I am today if it wasn't for my panic attacks and depersonalization. I wouldn't be as strong as I am today. I wouldn't be as funny as I am today. I wouldn't be as analytical as I am today. And whether that's a good or a bad thing, I'm not sure. Yes, I would feel much happier if I wasn't depersonalized and if I had not gone through what I had gone through. But I also wouldn't be me. And I really like me. A lot.